One of the first things I want to talk about is the new Christopher Nolan Odyssey movie. And I've talked about movies a handful of times. And this is one movie that I'm very confident in just not being at all interested in. And the reason for this is I actually really love the Odyssey book. I used to read a kind of condensed, abridged version of the Iliad and the Odyssey all the time. It really is one of, I think, the coolest stories in all of human history, which is probably one of, if not the reason it's managed to last so long. And so I enjoy the story. Because I enjoy the story so much, I don't want to watch something that I know is going to ruin it. And I know it's going to ruin it. So I would just rather kind of preserve the happy memories that I have of the Odyssey rather than endure the woke-washed version that we're going to get from Christopher Nolan. And it is going to be a woke-washed version. I hate to, throw that out there before the movie actually comes out and I have a chance to see it for myself. I don't like to dogpile onto films when they're good or bad, but I can tell just from what we've seen so far from the press tours and who they've cast and where they've cast them, I know this is going to be a woke washing. And we've already had members of the cast come out and basically say this without saying it. Here is the Fox News article that I think really gives this all away. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey gets overwhelmingly negative reactions after controversial casting choices. Lupita Nyong'o, cast as Helen of Troy, publicly criticized the 2,800-year-old piece's treatment of women during the promo tour. Now, we see this all the time from movies that have kind of gone woke. They try to blame the fact that you don't like the fact that they've gone woke for the movie failing. They just try to get out ahead of it. Oh, this movie didn't do poorly because it's not very good. This movie did poorly because you're not ready for a female-led film. And they'll go out and they'll say this 2 weeks before the movie comes out. It's like, okay, so you've just made a bad film and now you're trying to cover your tracks. This is exactly what we've seen from the Christopher Nolan Odyssey movie. When Christopher Nolan announced he'd be making an adaptation of The Odyssey as his latest project, film fans were generally thrilled. Nolan, for his directorial or writing faults, is an exceptionally talented technical filmmaker and seemed tailor-made to bring the ancient Greece and legendary story to life. Matt Damon was cast as Odysseus, the lead character, whose hero's journey became the basis of storytelling for thousands of years to come. While Damon isn't Greek, it was generally an inoffensive choice. Much of the rest of the casting could not have been worse, and while Odyssey is still likely to be a financial success, judging by the reaction to the latest final trailer that hit the internet recently, it's decisions like these clear that audience are not thrilled. They boogered that writing, I think, with what Nolan's done with a foundational and beloved story. And I'll be honest, most of the casting fuss has been around Lupita Nyong'o, or however you pronounce her name. I know I'm butchering it. I don't care. This woman was a terrible choice for a lot of reasons. One, she doesn't even slightly fit the description of the character that Homer does give us in the Odyssey. Two, she hasn't read the book. And three, she clearly doesn't like the story very much, which is all recipes for failure. And I'll prove it to you. This is the video that made the rounds recently on Twitter, went super mega viral, and has a lot of people kind of writing off the movie in advance. Take a listen to what she has to say about what is one of, if not the most, iconic pieces of fiction in all of human history.
I'd be like, so Homer, how do you feel about the screen time given to these women, considering how little you spend with them? Oh, okay.
And then do you lean forward and look at him like that?
Yes, like, remember us? I'd be like,
remember us? Remember the women? How do you feel about all the screen time we're getting? Because you didn't give us screen time in the books. Women were written off in the book. But if you've actually read the Odyssey, which she admittedly hasn't, you would know that actually women are key players constantly throughout the story. If not the actual goddesses that make various appearances in the story, then Odysseus's wife, who is a model of resilience, but that doesn't actually matter. We need to go and work woke virtue signal so that we have an excuse when the movie fails because we did too much woke virtue signaling. That's what's going on here. So I'm not going to go see this movie. At least I'm not going to pay for it. I might, watch it later when it comes out on streaming, but I'm not overly excited. All right, we'll be right back. We got a lot more. Stay tuned.